Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here today. Let me begin with a simple truth. Dreams mean nothing without action. No matter how big your goals are, no matter how clearly you can picture your success, nothing changes until you move. But here's the catch. Action is rarely convenient. Motivation fades. Excitement wears off. Life throws distractions in your path, and this is where most people stop. But not you. You're here because you want more. You want to grow. You want to win. So let me offer you the mindset that makes all the difference. Force yourself to take action day by day. Why force? Because you won't always feel like it. Some mornings you'll wake up tired, defeated, or full of doubt. But the path to success isn't paved with perfect days. It's paved with persistence, with small daily acts of discipline. Motivation is a powerful feeling. It can inspire, uplift, and push us toward our goals with a sudden burst of energy. But the truth is, motivation is not reliable. It comes and goes like the weather. Sometimes sunny and energizing, other times cloudy and non-existent. If you rely on motivation alone to get things done, you'll find yourself stuck more often than not, waiting for that perfect wave of inspiration to hit. And while you wait, time passes, opportunities fade, and your goals remain untouched. That's why action must come before motivation. You don't move forward by waiting to feel ready. You move forward by forcing yourself to act, especially when you don't feel like it. We often think that we need to be inspired to begin. We tell ourselves, once I'm in the right mindset, I'll start. Or when I feel more motivated, I'll get serious. But this is a trap. The truth is, action creates motivation, not the other way around. When you start something, even reluctantly, you create motion. And motion builds momentum. The moment you begin, no matter how small the step, you shift from passive to active, and your energy starts to change. Completing a task gives you a small win, and that win fuels you to keep going. This is how motivation is built, from the outside in, not the inside out. Think about the times you forced yourself to go to the gym, make that call, or work on a difficult task when you didn't want to. How did you feel afterward? Chances are you felt more capable, more in control, and more energized than before you started. The very act of doing what you didn't want to do gives you strength. It reinforces your discipline and proves to your brain that you are in charge, not your moods or excuse. And that's a powerful shift, because the more you act without waiting to feel ready, the stronger that mental muscle becomes. This is the secret that high performers, successful entrepreneurs, top athletes, and driven individuals understand. They don't act when they feel like it. They act because they've made a decision to. They've built systems, routines, and habits that guide their behavior, not fleeting emotion. They show up whether they're excited or exhausted, whether it's convenient or not. And it's this kind of commitment, this relentless ability to act regardless of mood, that separates those who achieve their goals from those who don't. Action builds resilience. It teaches you that progress doesn't depend on perfection. You don't need to feel amazing to make progress. You just need to move. One email, one workout, one chapter. That's how things get done, not through inspiration, but through decision. Every time you choose action over comfort, you redefine what's possible for yourself. You begin to trust your ability to follow through. You stop waiting for the stars to align and start creating your own momentum, one step at a time. So stop chasing motivation. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Force yourself to start, no matter how small the effort may seem. Because every time you act, you prove to yourself that you are capable. You silence the doubt, the fear, and the resistance. You build confidence through doing, not thinking. That's how goals are accomplished, not in a sudden burst of energy, but through quiet, consistent, determined action. day after day. Success isn't something that happens overnight. It's not the result of a single breakthrough moment or one lucky opportunity. It's the product of something much quieter, more subtle, and often overlooked: daily discipline. The ability to consistently do the small, necessary things day in and day out is what builds real, lasting success over time. It's not flashy and it's rarely exciting, but it works. Discipline is what separates those who dream from those who do. Most people underestimate the power of what they do daily. They believe that success is about intense effort or big moves, but real progress is often made in the unglamorous routines that no one sees. It's waking up early when you don't want to. It's going to the gym when you're tired. It's working on your craft when no one's watching. These small acts of discipline, when repeated consistently, form the foundation of achievement. Over time, they compound, leading to major results that can seem sudden to others, but you know they came from steady effort. Discipline is about doing what needs to be done, especially when you don't feel like it. It's about showing up even when there's no immediate reward. The truth is, the work that builds success often feels boring. It can feel repetitive and thankless. But that's exactly why discipline matters. Because most people won't do it. They'll quit too soon or only act when it's convenient. But if you keep going, if you stay committed to your daily actions, you gain an advantage. Over time, consistency beats intensity. Daily discipline also creates structure in your life. It gives you control in a world full of distractions. When you commit to certain routines, whether it's reading, working out, journaling, studying, or practicing, you build a rhythm. That rhythm keeps you grounded and focused. You stop relying on willpower and start building systems that make success more automatic. You don't have to decide every day whether to act. You've already made that decision in advance. That's the power of habit. You reduce the mental friction and simply execute. Discipline is also the key to mastering your emotions. There will be days when you feel frustrated, lazy, doubtful, or overwhelmed. Without discipline, those emotions will control your actions. But with discipline, you can acknowledge those feelings without obeying them. You can still do the work, even when you don't feel 100%. That self-control builds mental toughness. And that toughness is what allows you to persevere when others give up. What's important to understand is that discipline is not something you're born with. It's something you build, and you build it one choice at a time. Every time you resist the urge to procrastinate, every time you push through discomfort, every time you honor your commitment, you strengthen your discipline. It doesn't get easier, but you get stronger. You prove to yourself that you can be trusted to follow through, and that builds confidence and momentum. Success is a reflection of your habits. The people who reach the top aren't always the most talented or the most gifted. They're the ones who show up, stay the course, and keep working long after the excitement has faded. They understand that what they do today matters, that excellence isn't one giant leap, but thousands of small steps taken consistently over time. So if you want to succeed, don't chase shortcuts or wait for motivation. Focus on what you do daily. Build discipline, one action at a time. Stick with it, even when it's hard. Because when you stack up enough disciplined days, success stops being a question of if and becomes a progress often feels overwhelming. Because we tend to focus on the size of the goal rather than the path to reach it. We look at the mountain and feel intimidated, forgetting that every summit is reached step by step. The truth is, success doesn't begin with massive leaps. It begins with small, consistent actions. These small steps may seem insignificant in the moment, but they are powerful because they create momentum. And momentum is what keeps you moving forward long after motivation fades. When you take a small step, you break the cycle of inaction. You shift from planning and overthinking into doing. That shift, however minor, activates something important in your brain. It starts to associate effort with movement and movement with progress. You no longer feel stuck. You begin to realize that you don't have to finish the journey today, you just have to keep going. That's the essence of momentum. Forward motion fueled by consistent effort. Think of momentum like pushing a heavy object. At first, it takes all your strength just to get it to budge. But once it starts rolling, even a gentle nudge can keep it moving. The same principle applies to your goals. The hardest part is getting started. Once you do, you build confidence, and confidence fuels more action. Each step forward, no matter how small, sends a message to yourself. I'm doing this. I'm capable. That's how momentum grows, not from giant actions, but from repeated steps that reinforce your belief in yourself. Small steps also reduce resistance. When we aim too big, our minds start looking for ways to avoid the task. I don't have time, or it's too complicated, become our default thoughts. But when the task is small, 5 minutes of writing, 10 push-ups, 1 focused email, it feels doable. It removes the psychological barriers that keep us stuck. And once we complete that small task, we're far more likely to keep going. What began as a small step becomes a productive session. That's the power of beginning. This approach is especially valuable during difficult times. When life feels overwhelming or when you're battling low energy or self-doubt, massive goals feel out of reach. But a small action can still be taken, and that action matters. It's a signal that you're still in control, still moving forward, even if just barely. Momentum doesn't care how fast you're going. It only cares that you're not standing still. It's also worth noting that momentum builds not just progress, but identity. Every small step is a vote for the kind of person you want to become. When you show up consistently, even in small ways, you begin to see yourself differently. You start identifying as someone who takes action, someone who follows through. That identity shift is crucial because once you believe in your own consistency, staying disciplined becomes easier. You no longer need constant motivation. You act because it's who you are. Another benefit of small steps is that they often lead to unexpected opportunities. When you're in motion, you're more likely to encounter new ideas, people, or strategies that help you along the way. But none of that happens if you remain stuck in the planning phase. Action, even small action, opens doors. It puts you in the game. And once you're in the game, things begin to change. It's not about how quickly you move. It's about the fact that you're moving at all. Progress is built one decision at a time, one step at a time. Don't underestimate what small steps can do. They may seem simple, but they are the building blocks of momentum. And momentum is what turns effort into achievement. Keep stepping forward no matter how small the stride. That's how real growth begins. Commitment is often misunderstood. Many think it's just a promise made during moments of inspiration or excitement, a declaration to pursue a goal or stick to a path. But true commitment shows itself not when things are easy, but when things are hard. It's not about staying dedicated when you're motivated. It's about showing up when you're tired, uninspired, discouraged, or afraid. Commitment means doing it anyway. The reality is that motivation is temporary. It can get you started, but it won't carry you through the difficult days. There will be times when you don't feel like working out, writing, studying, or showing up. The weather won't be perfect. Your schedule will be packed. You'll be mentally exhausted. But if you're truly committed, you'll find a way. You won't wait until you feel like it. You'll act because you said you would. That's the difference between a wish and a commitment. Wishes fade, commitments are followed through. Doing it anyway builds a deeper kind of strength. It teaches you how to keep moving through discomfort. It trains your mind to focus on purpose rather than feelings. This is essential because growth almost always requires discomfort. Whether you're chasing a career goal, building a business, transforming your health, or mastering a skill, you will hit resistance. You'll question whether it's worth it. Your mind will come up with excuses, rationalizations, and justifications for why you should skip today. But commitment quiets those voices. It says, I don't need to feel perfect to take action. I just need to take the next step. And when you keep showing up despite the doubt or resistance, something powerful happens. You begin to trust yourself. You start proving day by day that your word means something, that trust builds confidence, not the kind that's loud and showy, but the kind that's earned through effort and consistency. Confidence that says, I've done the hard things before, I can do them again. That kind of inner strength can't be faked or borrowed. It's built through doing it anyway. This mindset also separates those who succeed from those who give up. Many people set goals and start strong, but only a few stick with it when progress is slow or the results aren't immediate. Those who do keep going aren't necessarily the most talented or the most fortunate. They're the most committed. They've learned that setbacks are part of the process and that perseverance matters more than perfection. They keep showing up, they keep working, they keep moving forward, even when it's inconvenient, uncomfortable, or boring. Doing it anyway doesn't mean forcing yourself to ignore your limits. It means recognizing that most of the time, your limits aren't physical, they're mental. It means pushing through that inner resistance and reclaiming control of your choices. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to be faithful to your purpose. Commitment is a decision made over and over again. It's renewed daily, often without reward, praise, or attention. But over time, those quiet decisions create powerful results. You become stronger, more focused, more resilient. You learn that success is less about dramatic actions and more about doing the ordinary things on the days you least want to. So when the mood isn't right, when your energy is low, when doubt creeps in, do it anyway. That's what commitment looks like. Not just words, but actions. Not just intentions, but follow through. And in the end, that's what will carry you across the finish line. Not the days you felt great, but the days you acted anyway. Success often seems like a sudden event. One day someone appears to make it, they release a best-selling book, launch a thriving business, get in incredible shape, or master a difficult skill. From the outside, it looks like they arrived overnight. But what most people don't see is the quiet effort that came before. The small actions repeated consistently over months or years. That's the real secret. Consistency compounds over time. Every time you take action, whether it's practicing your craft, making healthy choices, learning something new, or staying disciplined, you're making a deposit into a long-term account. On its own, that one action might not seem like much. It may not produce an immediate reward, but over time, the impact of those small actions grows. Like compound interest in a savings account, the results may start small, but they accelerate with time. That's the power of consistency. It turns effort into momentum and momentum into mastery. Most people struggle not because they lack talent, but because they lack patience. They give up too early. They try something for a week or a month, and when the results don't come fast enough, they stop. But consistency is not about quick wins. It's about long-term commitment. It's about showing up, doing the work, and trusting the process, even when progress feels invisible. Because it's during those moments when nothing seems to be changing that growth is quietly taking place. This compounding effect applies in every area of life. If you read just 10 pages a day, that's over 3,600 pages a year, more than 15 full-length books. If you save a small amount of money regularly, you build financial stability. If you practice a skill daily, even for 20 minutes, you'll improve far more in a year than someone who practices sporadically. The difference isn't in the size of each effort. It's in the repetition. Small, repeated actions beat occasional, big efforts every time. Consistency also builds habits. When you do something regularly, it becomes part of your identity. You no longer have to think about whether or not to do it. You just do. That routine frees up mental energy and strengthens your discipline. You don't need to rely on motivation because the behavior is automatic. This is how you build sustainable progress. You don't burn out trying to do too much. You build gradually, letting each day's effort build on the one before. Of course, this doesn't mean you have to be perfect. No one is. There will be days when you miss the mark, when life interrupts your rhythm, or when you simply fall short. But the goal isn't perfection, it's persistence. What matters is getting back on track and continuing the pattern. Because once you understand how powerful consistency is, you stop being discouraged by temporary setbacks. You know that missing a day doesn't undo your progress as long as you return the next day. Another benefit of consistency is that it builds trust, both with others and with yourself. When people see you show up day after day, they begin to rely on you. But even more importantly, you begin to rely on yourself. You prove that your effort isn't dependent on mood, motivation, or external praise. You learn that you can follow through on your goals, and that belief in yourself becomes a powerful force. In the end, it's not about how much you can do in one day, it's about how much you can sustain over time. The results you want, whether personal, professional, or physical, are waiting for you on the other side of consistent effort. So don't chase speed, chase steadiness. Keep showing up, keep putting in the work, because consistency, like time, is always working, even when you don't see it. And eventually, the compound effect will reward you in ways you never imagined. Your life today is the result of your habits. The way you think, act, respond, and spend your time, these daily behaviors repeated over weeks, months, and years have shaped your current reality. And the life you will live in the future will also be a direct reflection of the habits you practice starting now. Habits shape your destiny, not because they are grand or dramatic, but because they are consistent. They influence your choices, your mindset, and ultimately the direction of your entire life. Many people believe that big decisions are what determine their fate. Choosing a career, moving to a new city, starting a business. And while those decisions are certainly impactful, it's the small, repeated behaviors that make the greatest difference. What time you wake up, how you handle stress, whether you exercise, what you eat, what you read or watch, how you talk to yourself. These are the silent architects of your life. Over time, they build the path you walk. Habits are powerful because they operate in the background. Once a habit is formed, you no longer need to think about it consciously. It becomes automatic. This can be either a blessing or a curse. Positive habits work for you, creating a structure that supports your goals and well-being. But negative habits, once embedded, can quietly sabotage your progress without you even realizing it. That's why becoming aware of your habits is the first step toward changing your destiny. You must ask yourself, are my habits taking me closer to the life I want or further away? The good news is that habits can be changed. You're not stuck with the ones you've formed. Every small decision is an opportunity to reinforce a positive behavior or begin to replace a harmful one. It starts with awareness, identifying what habits you want to build and why they matter. Then it takes intention, designing your environment and routine in a way that makes it easier to follow through. And most importantly, it takes repetition, doing the right thing again and again, even when it feels hard or boring. Your brain is wired to follow patterns. The more you perform a certain action, the stronger the neural pathway becomes. Eventually, that pathway becomes so well worn that the behavior feels effortless. This is why building good habits at first can feel challenging. It takes energy to override old patterns and form new ones. But once those new patterns are established, they become part of who you are. You no longer need to force them. They guide your actions naturally. What's truly empowering is that you can start small. You don't need to overhaul your entire life overnight. Focus on one keystone habit, the kind of habit that has a ripple effect on other areas of your life. It might be waking up earlier, exercising regularly, journaling, meditating, reading, or setting daily goals. When you succeed in one area, your belief in yourself grows, and that confidence spills into other areas. This momentum is what creates long-term transformation. Habits shape your identity as well. The more you act in a certain way, the more you start to believe, this is who I am. When you develop the habit of discipline, you begin to see yourself as a disciplined person. When you follow through on your promises, you identify as someone who keeps their word. These identity shifts are powerful because once you believe something about yourself, your actions begin to align with that belief. Your destiny is not determined by luck, background, or talent alone. It is shaped by what you do every day. If you want to change your future, change your habits. Choose them wisely. Nourish the ones that serve your growth. Replace the ones that hold you back. Because the life you dream of isn't built in a day, but it is built daily, one habit at a time. The results you want tomorrow are determined by the effort you put in today. Success doesn't arrive by accident. It's earned through discipline, sacrifice, and daily choices that often feel uncomfortable in the moment. When you push yourself today, you give yourself the opportunity to win tomorrow. It's that simple and that hard. Growth always lives just outside your comfort zone, and the people who achieve more are usually the ones who learn to lean into that discomfort and keep moving forward. There will always be reasons to take it easy, to delay, to coast. Your mind is wired to seek comfort, to avoid pain, to preserve energy. But comfort never leads to greatness. You don't get stronger by doing what's easy. You get stronger by doing what's necessary, especially when it's difficult. Whether you're training your body, expanding your mind, building a career, or creating something meaningful, the effort you invest today sets the tone for the future. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, every time you go the extra mile instead of cutting corners, you are investing in a version of yourself that is more capable, more confident, and more prepared. Pushing yourself doesn't mean being reckless or burning out. It means being intentional. It means recognizing that your goals require effort and then choosing to give that effort even when you don't feel like it. It means resisting the urge to quit when things get hard and choosing instead to rise to the challenge. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be willing to stretch yourself, to do one more rep, read one more page, make one more call. These small acts of extra effort compound over time and separate the average from the excellent. The truth is, most people stop at good enough. They settle for mediocrity because pushing further is uncomfortable. But success is never found in the comfort zone. It lives in the late nights, the early mornings, the quiet hours of focused work when no one's watching. That's where champions are made. It's in those moments when you decide to push harder, not because you have to, but because you know it's what your future requires. When you push yourself today, you also build mental resilience. You teach your mind that it doesn't always get to choose the easy way out. You become more focused, more driven, more disciplined. This mental toughness becomes your edge, the thing that carries you through setbacks, rejections, and failures, because those will come. But if you've built the habit of effort, if you've trained yourself to rise rather than retreat, you'll keep moving forward while others give up. This mindset shift also creates long-term confidence. Confidence doesn't come from wishing or hoping, it comes from doing. Every time you push past your own resistance, you prove to yourself that you're stronger than your excuses. That belief in your own ability starts to grow, and with it comes momentum. You become someone who follows through, someone who shows up, someone who doesn't quit. And that kind of identity creates unstoppable energy. Success belongs to those who prepare for it today. It's not luck, and it's not talent alone. It's the willingness to outwork your past self, to stay focused when others drift, and to keep moving forward no matter what. So don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for the perfect conditions. Push yourself today, even if it's just a little. Stretch your limits. Choose the hard path because that's where the growth is. That's where tomorrow's rewards are waiting. In the end, it's not about being the best right now. It's about being better than you were yesterday. One day of effort won't change your life, but 1,000 days of effort will. So start today. Push yourself now. And trust that the version of you who wakes up tomorrow will be one step closer to the life you've been working for.